The silence before the storm. The stars above the quiet colony world of Aronis 5 sparkled like diamonds on black velvet. The people below had no idea that war was coming. But in orbit, the alarms were already screaming. Commander Rel stood at the edge of the observation deck, staring at the distant shapes forming in deep space. Red dots marked enemy ships, dozens of them. The alien fleet, known as the Varnak Swarm, was closing in fast. "We've sent the distress signal," said a young officer named Tom. His voice was calm, but his hands shook slightly. No response yet. Rel didn't answer. His mind was racing. Aronis 5 was just a farming colony. No defense fleet. No planetary weapons. Only a few patrol ships and a population of untrained civilians. The Varnak were brutal. No mercy, no warnings. They destroyed, enslaved, and moved on. This was not a raid. It was extermination. In the control room, the crew worked fast. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and out of time. "We have 2 hours before they reach orbit," Tom said. Rel turned. "Evacuation. We can't move them all in time." Rel nodded slowly. "Then we hold." In the capital city, families packed what they could. Children cried. Old people sat in silence. The air buzzed with fear. The skies were dark now, and everyone felt the storm coming. Above them, the Varnak fleet drew closer. Long, black ships moved like serpents through space. Their hulls were jagged, their weapons hot and glowing. They didn't talk. They didn't send a message. They just approached, ready to kill. Back in orbit, something strange happened. A small beep echoed through the control room. Tom's eyes went wide. Signal detected. It's Terran code. Rel moved quickly to the console. "Play it." A deep voice came through. "Fleet Omega Black responding. ETA, 8 minutes. Everyone froze. Rel blinked. "Omega Black? That's a human dread fleet." Tom's mouth dropped open. They actually sent the Black Fleet. Omega Black was a legend. Made of Earth's most powerful warships, piloted by humans trained on death worlds, equipped with weapons banned by most of the galaxy. If they were coming. The Varnak had no idea what was about to hit them. Minutes later, space tore open. Blue-white cracks of light split the stars, and massive ships emerged. Black as night, silent as ghosts. No music, no words, no broadcast. Just presence. The Varnak paused, then the first Terran battleship moved. It didn't fire warnings. It didn't negotiate. It simply launched a single beam, a white-hot lance of energy that pierced the lead Varnak ship from bow to stern. The alien vessel exploded instantly. Not damaged, erased, panic spread through the Varnak ranks. The rest of the human fleet opened fire. Railguns, plasma storms, neutron bursts, weapons too dangerous to be legal. The sky above Aronis 5 became a light show of destruction. In 10 seconds, 3 Varnak ships vanished. In 30 seconds, 10 more were shattered into dust. They didn't stand a chance. On the ground, people looked up and saw streaks of light and fire falling from the sky. At first, they thought it was the enemy attacking. Then someone shouted, "Those aren't enemy ships falling. Those are theirs. The humans are here." And the crowd began to cheer. For the first time in hours, hope returned. Commander Rel watched from the deck, stunned. "It's like they are not even trying," he whispered. Tom smiled. "No. They are just angry." Rel turned slowly. "Why angry?" Tom's voice turned dark. "The Varnak attacked a Terran colony last month. No survivors. Earth didn't. Forget." Rel stared out at the battlefield. The Varnak ships were trying to run now, but it was too late. The Black Fleet had arrived, and the enemy didn't stand a chance. Fire in the void. The Varnak fleet was in chaos. They had never faced anything like this. Their usual tactics, overwhelming numbers and brutal charges, meant nothing now. The human ships didn't retreat, didn't slow, didn't talk. They just fired, again and again, like machines with a single purpose: eliminate the enemy. Captain Darnok of the Varnak swarm screamed across his command deck, waving his claws in panic. "Fall back. Full retreat. Regroup at the outer ring." But no one could hear him through the static and screams. His communications were jammed. His allies, his entire fleet, were dying faster than he could command. A second later, his ship exploded into a silent burst of white flames. The Terran dreadnought Iron will pass through the debris cloud without slowing. On the surface of Aronis, 5. People gathered outside in groups, watching the skies like they were witnessing a storm sent by gods, and in many ways, they were. Children who once cried now pointed in awe. They came for us, one old man whispered. They came fast, said a mother holding her baby, and above them, Earth's Black Fleet continued its silent rampage. Inside one of the Terran flagships, Commander Dale stood with arms crossed. He watched the display screen as another enemy ship was destroyed. They never learn, he muttered. The young officer beside him, Nora, looked confused. Sir? Dale glanced at her. Aliens. They keep thinking Earth is soft. That humans are peaceful. Until we arrive. She nodded. And when we do, they remember why they fear us. He tapped the screen. Send the ghost wings, he ordered. Nora's eyes widened. Already? We've broken half their fleet. We're not here to scare them, Dale said. We are here to end it. In the vacuum of space, 4 dark ships detached from the main dreadnoughts. These were not ordinary ships, they were ghost wings, stealth crafts with no lights, no sounds, and no mercy. They darted between wrecks, slipping behind what was left of the Varnak formation. The enemy didn't see them. By the time they noticed, it was too late. The ghost wings launched micro-torpedoes that didn't explode, but sliced. They tore through engines, cracked hulls, disabled weapons. They hunted the remaining Varnak ships like sharks in blooded water. Back in orbit, Commander Ral's station shook from a distant blast. Sir, Varnak command ship is gone, Tom said. Destroyed by human stealth craft. Ral couldn't believe it. We didn't even see them coming. Tom nodded. That's the point. No warning. No weakness. Just execution. The station crew looked at each other. A mixture of fear and admiration grew in the room. Ral took a deep breath. Remind me never to make Earth our enemy. The Varnak tried to flee. Their ship spun in every direction. Some jumped blindly into hyperspace, not knowing where they'd end up. Others fired wildly, hitting nothing, but the Black Fleet was already ahead of them. One Varnak cruiser launched all of its escape pods. The humans ignored them, not out of mercy, but because they knew where those pods would land and that someone on the ground would be waiting. I in the control center, on Iron Will, Commander Dale folded his arms. All enemy vessels are down. No survivors, Nora confirmed. Dale didn't smile. He just gave a single nod. Send cleanup drones. Clear the wrecks. Then send the message. Nora raised an eyebrow. Message, sir. Dale leaned forward. To the galaxy. She nodded and tapped her console. Ready. He spoke clearly, his voice recorded and broadcast in every known language. This is Commander Dale of Earth's Black Fleet. To any who seek to harm human worlds, remember what you've seen. We don't start wars. But if you bring war to us, we end it. The message ended. Silence followed. On Aronis, 5, people cried. Not out of fear, but because they had survived. Families hugged. Strangers shook hands. The colony was saved not by luck, not by words, but by the steel and fury of Earth. Commander Rel looked to the stars. He had never respected humans before, now, he feared them, but more than that, he was grateful. Asterisk. The message spreads. The galaxy was not quiet after the battle. Commander Dale's message, short, clear, and final, echoed across hundreds of star systems. Every species that received it paused. Some sat in silence. Others shivered. And a few panicked. On trade stations, civilians replayed the footage of the Terran fleet entering the battle. They didn't negotiate, one alien said. They didn't need to, replied another. The image of the Varnak flagship disintegrating in a single beam spread faster than light. Galactic news streams exploded with headlines. Earth's Black Fleet returns. A war ends in minutes. Varnak swarm shattered. No survivors. Is humanity peaceful, or just patient? Diplomats in tall buildings whispered behind closed doors. Military leaders studied the footage frame by frame, and the council, they panicked. In a large oval chamber on the capital world of Juras Prime, the Galactic Council gathered. Dozens of species, some with fur, some with feathers, some made entirely of liquid, argued loudly. They used banned weapons. They were defending a colony. They didn't even issue warnings. They don't need to, they are humans. At the center of the table, a tall gray being named Mera raised his hands. Silence, he demanded. The room quieted. Mera continued, we called Earth to be part of this council. They declined. Now we see why. A small, scale-covered ambassador from the Rictal Empire hissed, they've always kept their power hidden. Now they've shown it. And we should be glad, Mera replied. The room murmured, glad? Another ambassador asked. Yes, Mera said. Because they are still on our side. That single sentence settled the room. For now, back on Aronis 5. Cleanup drones floated through the upper orbit, collecting wreckage and neutralizing unexploded Varnak cores. The human fleet remained in high orbit, not to show force, but to protect. Commander Ral stood by the station window again, watching. They are not leaving yet. Tom asked. Ral shook his head. No. They are watching. Tom frowned. Watching? What? Ral thought for a moment. Maybe us. Maybe space. Maybe they are waiting for someone else to make a move. Tom turned away. I hope no one's that stupid. Down on the planet's surface, relief efforts had begun. Human medics, dressed in black and silver, moved swiftly through the colony streets. They carried equipment that seemed like magic, fixing burns, healing cuts, repairing damaged buildings with handheld tech. One colonist, a girl named Lani, looked up at one of the medics. Are you really from Earth? The medic smiled. Born on lunar base. Did you fight? She asked softly. No, the woman replied. But my brother did. On Iron Will. Lani's eyes lit up. He saved us. The medic placed a small device on the girl's arm, healing a deep scratch instantly. He did what any human would. Commander Dale watched the reports coming in from the surface. He saw images of colonists hugging the Terran medics, of children waving to soldiers in armor, of elders crying as they touched the black hulls of the dreadnoughts above. He didn't smile, but he felt it, satisfaction, not for winning the battle, but for protecting the innocent. Nora entered the command deck. Sir, we have requests. From who? Dale asked. Half the colonies near this sector. They want Earth to send ships. Dale leaned on the console. We can't be everywhere. No, Nora said. But everyone wants us everywhere now. He nodded slowly. The galaxy had watched. And now it remembered. At the edge of the system, a small Varnak scout ship escaped the battle's debris field. Its pilot was bleeding, terrified, and alone. He activated a private channel and recorded a message. They didn't fight. They ended. Their ships, black ghosts. Their weapons, hellfire. Their eyes, no fear. We were nothing to them. Nothing. He sent the message out into space, hoping someone, anyone, would hear it and warn others before it was too late. The fear spreads. The scout's message reached FAA.IT crust systems, bounced off satellites, and landed in the hands of warlords, pirates, and distant empires. The warning was simple, raw, and terrifying. They erased us. No talks. No weakness. Just fire and silence. Most didn't believe it at first. Then the footage came, shaky images captured by smuggler drones. A glimpse of Earth's fleet, tall, black ships like floating blades, cutting through the Varnak line without mercy. The truth was clear now. Humanity had returned to the battlefield, and the galaxy was not ready. On a pirate base floating near the asteroid belt of the Torshan system, a meeting was in session. The pirate lord, a giant beast with armor plates and glowing eyes, slammed his clawed fist on the table. We don't attack human space again, he growled. His lieutenants looked confused. Why? One asked. They are just soft colonists. The pirate lord tapped the screen in front of him. The screen lit up with the moment the Iron Will fired its primary cannon. One blast, one dead capital ship. The room went silent. That's what their backup fleet did. Imagine what their main one can do, he growled. One pirate nodded slowly. Then we leave Earth alone. The pirate lord shook his head. No. We avoid anything even near Earth. That includes colonies, trade routes, allies, and anyone they like. He leaned forward. If a human sneezes, we bless them and run. Back on Aronis 5, life had started returning to normal. Shops reopened. Power was restored. Children played in the streets again, but something had changed. The people weren't the same. They had seen Earth's might. And more than that, they had seen what it meant to be protected by humans. Commander Rel stood before the Planetary Council. The question is simple, he said. Do we join Earth's alliance or stay neutral? The room was quiet. A colony. Elder finally stood. I was once afraid of Earth, he said. I thought they were dangerous. Reckless. He looked up at the sky, but now I see, dangerous to their enemies. Not to us. The vote passed in seconds. Erroneous 5 officially joined the Terran Protective Pact, and they were not the only ones. Across the stars, small planets and isolated stations began aligning themselves with Earth. Old trade networks reopened. Abandoned outposts suddenly received shipments from Terran convoys. Human engineers showed up on dying planets with tech no one else could fix. People were confused. Why are they helping us? One alien asked. A Terran officer responded simply, because. You're not alone anymore. The effect was massive. The galaxy had feared Earth's power. Now, it began to respect Earth's protection. Inside the war room aboard Iron Will, Commander Dale studied the growing network on the screen. Red dots for threats. Blue for allies. Green. For colonies under protection. The blue area kept spreading. Nora entered quietly. Sir. More systems joining the pact. How many? Dale asked. 17 in the last 2 days. Some are former rivals. Dale leaned back. They are not joining us because they like us. They are joining us because they saw what we did. Nora nodded. And they believe we can keep doing it. He looked at her. Can we? She paused. We can if we keep the fleet moving. If we never stop watching. Dale turned back to the map. Then we don't stop. In the shadows of the galaxy, the Varnak survivors regrouped. Only a handful of ships remained. Their new leader, a scarred creature with only one eye and metal arms, gave the order, we rebuild. But we don't strike Earth again. Not yet. Another. Commander hissed, coward. No, the leader growled. I want to live. He stared at a glowing image of Earth's fleet. We will return one day. Stronger, faster. We will study their tactics. Learn their weaknesses. But not now. He closed the map. Now we hide. Back in orbit around Uranus 5, the Terran fleet began to move. The cleanup was done. The repairs complete. People stood in the fields and cities, looking up. As the black warships faded into the stars, a small girl whispered to her mother, will they come back? Her mother smiled, if we ever need them again, they'll come. Asterisk. The Council's debate in the Galactic core, inside the tallest spire on the planet Del Ruz, the High Council met again. This time, their voices were quieter. The usual shouting and posturing were gone. They had all seen the same footage. The Terran fleet arriving like shadows. Varnak ships being destroyed in moments. The message from Commander Dale repeating through every system, we don't start wars. But if you bring war to us, we end it. The silence in the chamber felt heavy. Ambassador Nora, a thin, bird-like being with sharp eyes, finally broke. We cannot ignore them any longer. Earth is not just another species. They are a force, added another, blinking slowly. Like a black hole. Not good, not evil. Just unstoppable. A thick-furred diplomat from the Volan race leaned forward. So what now? Do we fight them? Ban their fleets? Ask them to disarm. The room froze again. Everyone remembered what happened the last time someone tried that. A small planet called Verona had tried to stop Earth's mining fleet. Sent warships. All were destroyed in seconds. Earth didn't even take the planet. They just left a single message behind, do not interfere. Do not threaten. We protect our own. Now, many in the room feared Earth, but others saw something else. Opportunity. We need their help, said a quiet voice near the back. It came from a soft-spoken ambassador with pale skin and glowing eyes. We are losing colonies to pirates. Our patrols can't keep up. The Death Welders can. Murmurs filled the room. Ask Earth to join the Council. After all this time, would they even accept? The decision wasn't made that day, but the Council finally agreed on one thing: Earth could not be ignored anymore, far from politics. Commander Dale sat alone in his private quarters aboard Iron Will. The stars outside the window drifted by slowly. His fleet was moving to the next sector. Another colony had asked for help, but his mind wasn't at peace. He sipped a dark cup of coffee and stared at the star map. Nora entered. "You should rest," she said. "I will," he replied, though they both knew he wouldn't. She placed a small device on the table. "Transmission from Earth Command. The Council is sending a delegation. They want peace talks. And maybe something more." Dale didn't speak for a long moment. Finally, he asked, "Do you think they're afraid of us?" Nora nodded. "Yes." "Good," he replied. "They should be. But they should also know we're not monsters." She sat across from him. "So what are we, sir?" He looked back out the window. "We are the storm after the silence. The shield when others fall. We are the last voice when the galaxy loses hope." She smiled. "You should write poetry." He smirked. "Not unless it ends with an explosion." Meanwhile, deep in the outer systems, another race was watching. They didn't speak in words. They used thoughts, shared across glowing webs of light. A race known only in whispers, the Velra. They had watched Earth from afar for centuries. Their archives held the old records, the first time humanity reached space, the wars, the peace. The rise of the Deathworlders. Now, the Velra watched the Aronis 5 battle again and again. They are stronger than before. One Velra thought, "They fight like predators, but protect like guardians," answered another. "Should we intervene?" "Not yet. Let them grow. Let the others see. One day, they will face the real test." And with that, the Velra faded. Back into the shadows of space, back on Aronis 5, children drew pictures of Terran warships in the dirt. Farmers returned to the fields. Teachers told stories of the battle, of the Black Fleet that came from the stars. A statue was being built in the capital. It showed a human soldier standing tall, hand extended, not holding a weapon, but reaching down to help. Beneath it were simple words in many languages. "When we called, they answered." The next fire. The black ships of Earth's fleet traveled silently through the stars. They moved in formation, tight, controlled, and unreadable. Some said they looked like giant blades in space. Others thought they looked like shadows with engines, but everyone agreed, where they went, safety followed. In a nearby system called Voral 9, a peaceful colony was under attack. The attackers weren't a known empire. They weren't even soldiers. Just mercenaries, a group called the Red Spiral, made of ex-pirates, deserters, and war criminals. They had found a quiet planet full of scientists and miners. Easy prey. No fleet. No weapons. No protection. The Red Spiral didn't expect anyone to respond, especially not Earth. As the mercenaries looted buildings and rounded up colonists, one of them stood near the edge of the camp, watching the sky. He felt a sudden chill. Above them, the clouds split apart. Not from weather, but from something falling. No sound. No warning, just a shape, huge, dark, and glowing at the edges. The mercenary blinked, then the ground shook. The first Terran dropship landed, its hull burned with the heat of re-entry. Its ramp opened, and a group of humans stepped out. No shouting. No threats, just calm footsteps and glowing armor. The mercenaries opened fire. It didn't matter. In less than 30 seconds, the first squad was gone, wiped out. The colonists, still tied up nearby, stared in shock as their captors fell without even touching the Terran soldiers. One colonist whispered, "They came." Above the planet, Commander Dale stood on the bridge of Iron Will, watching the live feed. "Status?" he asked. Nora replied, "Ground secured in 2 zones. Third zone still under resistance." Dale tapped the screen. "Send in Ghost Unit 6. "Sir, that's overkill. They touched civilians," he said coldly. "There's no such thing as overkill after that." Ghost Unit 6 moved like smoke. You couldn't hear them. You couldn't see them. By the time anyone realized they were there, it was over. The last of the mercenaries tried to run. One of them even begged for mercy, but humans don't forget when innocents are harmed, and Earth doesn't forgive. The battle ended in 4 minutes. Not one Terran soldier was injured. Afterward, the colonists were released. Medics treated wounds. Engineers restored power. Food packs and clean water were distributed, but more than supplies, the people were given hope. One old man approached a Terran soldier and placed a hand on his armored chest. "You came from across the stars just to save us." The soldier didn't reply. He only nodded, because for Terrans, action spoke louder than words. The message spread again. The Terran fleet had responded faster than any other, and again, the footage went viral. The black ships in the sky, the silent soldiers in grey armor, the quick and final justice they delivered, and the message beneath every video: you can hurt the weak, but not while Earth is watching. In the Outer Rim, the Red Spiral leaders screamed in rage. We didn't know they had Terran protection. They didn't, one said. Earth came anyway. Panic spread through pirate networks. Raiding parties cancelled. Attacks were pulled back. Smugglers changed routes to avoid anything near human colonies, and the galaxy shifted again. No one dared move against Earth, not because of treaties, but because of fear. Meanwhile, on Iron Will, Dale stood with Nora once again. Another colony safe, she said. Good, Dale replied. But it won't stop. No, she agreed. But we will keep responding. He looked at the star map, glowing with blue zones, each one protected by Terran forces. Nora leaned in. Some say you're building an empire. Dale shook his head. No. Not an empire. A shield. For who? For everyone who still believes peace needs teeth. She smiled faintly. Well, Earth has sharp teeth. Dale looked back at the stars. We always did. Asterisk. The shield of humanity. A new age had begun, not one of conquest, but of presence. Wherever the Terran fleet appeared, enemies vanished, and peace followed. Not because Earth forced it, but because no one wanted to test Earth's limits anymore. They called it the Age of Fire and Calm, because the fire came swiftly to those who struck first, and calm returned just as fast. Once Earth's ships hovered overhead. On a quiet planet named Talones, a schoolteacher told a story to her students. Long ago, she said, we feared the stars. We feared pirates, empires, and monsters. A small boy raised his hand. What happened? She smiled and pointed to a large mural on the wall, a human in dark armor standing over a burning battlefield, holding a wounded child. Earth happened. At the Galactic Council, the mood was very different. They had extended an official offer. A high seat, full voting power, shared leadership, and Earth had finally answered. The ambassador chosen by Earth was not a soldier or a politician. He was a middle-aged man named Jared, a former field medic. He wore no armor, carried no weapons, but when he entered the council hall, every species stood, not because of him, but because of the fleet behind him. He walked to the center and simply said, Earth doesn't want power. We don't want territory. But we will defend. So long as there are innocent people in the galaxy, we will not stand back. We are not your rulers. We are your shield. There was no vote. The council accepted Earth as an equal, because refusing meant risking war with those who never lost. Far away, on Earth, families watched the news. Children drew human ships beside alien cities. Young cadets trained in simulators with pride in their eyes. Old veterans smiled and nodded quietly. Earth had once been alone, weak, divided, forgotten, but no longer. Now, when someone cried out into space, humanity heard them and answered. On Iron Will, Commander Dale prepared for their next departure. Nora stood beside him, reading the newest briefing. The transport colony is under threat in the Dilar Belt, she said. Local forces can't hold the line. Dale nodded. How far? 2 hours at full burn. Good, he said. Tell them we are on our way. As the engines warmed, Dale paused. He looked at the view screen, where hundreds of stars blinked. Do you think they know? He asked. Who? Nora replied, the enemy. All of them. Do you think they've finally learned? She thought for a moment, then smiled. If they haven't yet, they will soon. The ship's lights dimmed as the warp drive activated. Outside the hull, space bent around the warship, and Iron Will vanished in a streak of blue fire, followed by the rest of the Black Fleet. Once again, Earth moved, not with banners or music, but with precision, with silence, with purpose. The galaxy watched, and remembered, the humans didn't come to rule. But if you threatened what they protected, you didn't stand a chance. Asterisk.